was the inspiration of your single For You and the rest of the songs on the album? It sounds like a very large range of emotions went into it.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time when I'm writing and stuff, it's really just kind of like reflecting on things that have happened in my life or whatever, and just trying to make a story out of it. You know what I mean? Something that someone could relate to. You know, a listener could relate to. And it doesn't like a lot of times people will listen to the songs and they'll say this one that I hear this or this is what I'm thinking, and a lot of times they're off. You know, sometimes they're off by a little, sometimes they're off by a lot. But I don't like to get into saying the song's about this or the song's about that, because once you write a song and give it to someone, put it out for people to listen to, that becomes like their like part of their life. It's like a lot of times you can listen to a song and it reminds you of like a time in your life or an activity or something like that. And it's like if you say, well, no, it's not about that, it's about this, then you're kind of trying to take a song away from them, And so I'd rather let the listener go ahead and make their own decision about what it is and how it applies to them than how it applies to me.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Do you think working with Josh Swibler, who also worked with Lamb of God and Godra, made the order of things heavier by default than what it would have been?
No, I don't think so. I think that like a lot of the stuff that me and Josh worked on were the vocals and trying to get like a different approach than we had taken before, and kind of adding a little more, I guess a little more melody than we'd had. I mean, we had songs that were all singing all the way through, but we were looking for more interesting harmonies and stuff like that.
Balance it.
Yeah, and so like the songs weren't heavier because of Josh. I honestly, I think there's probably a lot of people out there that would argue that the songs aren't heavier just because of the singing. But I'm not.
They still are heavy because the music and you bring the emotion for it too.
That's the way I feel. I mean, if you listen to riffs that we play and stuff, I mean they've always been like metally kind of riffs, So whatever people are gonna have an opinion on that. So
yeah, no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what you do, someone's gonna say something.
Yeah,
so
they're all really good.
Thanks.
Yeah. How did you guys come about choosing a new bass player, Aaron Patrick from Bury Your Dead? Did both of your bands, being from Massachusetts, have anything to do with it?
Well, no, it wasn't because Bury Your Dead was from Mass. Aaron's actually from Ohio, even though Bury Your Dead was playing from Mass. But like Aaron had worked for us. He was a tour manager, so he'd worked with us for a year and a half before Jeannie quit. We'd done touring with him when he worked, when he played in other bands. When he played in Bury Your Dead, we did a tour with him. He was playing in Double Driver for a while, and we did some touring with those guys. So we've known him for a long time. So it was a really easy switch because he's a lot like us. Same kind of attitude and stuff. Really easy to get along with. So, it was an easy, smooth changeover. So it wasn't so much because of the Mass connection.
Yeah, that's really cool. You're right, you and everything went together. Do you have a workout routine you have to stay in shape when you're on the road?
Just get to the gym. Just trying to get to the gym is we do kind of go ahead and say, all right, so it's leg day, it's chest day, it's back day or whatever. But like, we're doing deadlifts today or whatever. But there's not like a really regimented routine that I do.
Just to make sure you do something.
Just get to the freaking gym. It's hard enough that when you're going to different towns every day.
Yeah.
Getting every day you're calling an Uber, going to the YMCA. So that's hard enough. I don't worry about making sure our routines. Keeping on track with the routine.
Make sure you do something to stay in shape.
Do something. Yes.
What's your favorite song off the order of things?
I think right now it's probably Pernicious. For a while it was Divide. I like the Divide's kind of like the vocals that we did, the amount of harmonies that Jeannie was singing and stuff. I think was really cool. I really like Pernicious. I think that it's a just kind of a cool vibe, kind of a downer vibe to the song, kind of. But it changes fairly regularly. I'll listen to a song and be like, oh, I like that one a little bit better now or whatever. So.
What is your favorite song to perform live? The one that really gets your blood pumping?
We don't do it. We're not doing it on this tour because Aaron doesn't know it yet. But I really like doing Southern People all the time. That's probably one of my favorite songs we've ever written. Like one of the heavier songs we've written in the recent past. And I just think it's cool. I think the title's cool, you know, so.
Yeah. What's the funniest thing to happen to you guys while on tour? Do you ever get involved in like tour pranks or?
We don't do a whole lot of pranking, no. I mean, you know, we're most of us are like around 40 years old, so the pranking stuff usually happens when you're younger. We talk about pranks. Mostly the stuff that we do to irritate each other is like if you find out someone has a pet peeve, you intentionally do whatever it is. You know, if Mike doesn't like it when people leave stuff out, so if you want to irritate Mike, just leave, like, open your bag and put your stuff everywhere a couple days in a row, and it'll drive him nuts. You know, stuff like that is kind of the pranks that we do nowadays.
Yeah, nothing that can sabotage anything really.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you don't want to have to clean
Yeah,
up. Nobody wants to clean up a
yeah.
mess. You know what I mean? Nobody
Yeah,
wants to clean
because
up.
then it gets in the way of the show and
Yeah.
touring, getting ready and
Yeah.
everything else then.
Nobody wants to clean up a mess. You know?
Yeah. So, do you have any advice for any bands starting out?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, I guess really your best advice you can get is just practice as much as you can. You know, really make sure that you can play your instrument. Play whatever instrument you choose, and you know, spend the time with your instrument. I mean, that's never bad advice. It's basic, simple advice, but it's never bad advice. Make sure you play with other people a lot, practice a lot, and if you're not in a band or you can't find a band, do what you can to go and just jam with other musicians. You know, just to familiarize yourself with playing and learn, you know, the different rhythms that people have when it comes to how they work, and because that's a big part of writing and being in a band is being able to live with other people. So.
Yeah. I'm Zander from Lake TV. Thank you for taking the time to
Thank you very much.
interview
I
us.
appreciate it.